Hey,
Mac.
folks. Hey, how are you? We're back at it.
Yeah, welcome back. Nice to see everybody. Hope everybody's having a great holiday so far and enjoying this cold weather that we got going on.
Yeah, it kind of sucks actually. I'm in Detroit, and it's today. It's I don't know. I think it's like 19 degrees or something like that today. I don't know. Where are you at, and how cold is it over there?
Yeah, I'm in Denver. We're dipping below 30. I think we're hitting like 20s, mid 20s this morning. It's a
Yeah.
pretty bitter cold.
Yeah, it's winter. I mean, I appreciate winter. I'm assuming you moved to Denver because for the purpose of the listeners out there. So Tyler used to live in Detroit, moved to Denver. I'm assuming you moved to Denver because you wanted to have like the ability to have like, you know, be outside playing basketball 1 minute and then going up to the mountains and actual skiing. Is that one of the main reasons why you moved there?
Yeah, the mountains are a big draw for people. I just liked the desert so much. I just um, wanted it to be more dry. No, I just change of pace, checking out the west side of the country a little bit. It's uh
Okay,
it's pretty nice out here.
cool.
But similar other than the dryness to the seasons.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's dope. I think that this actual podcast is going to be a little different than what we usually do. We're usually talking about, things we're working on and all that good stuff. But today I want to talk about and be transparent about a customer we lost, and talk through the issues that happened and how we're going to do a better job in maintaining or not necessarily maintaining, but making the feature that they wanted to use easier to use, and make sure it's tested through all of the different potential use cases. And we'll get into that in a second. But I'm going to post this so that, and the reason why we're doing, I want to post this into our Slack channel too, so that people who are in the community can join this as well. I just think that we could have handled this a couple of different ways, right? We could have just um, went our little corner um, and kind of like be sad that we lost this customer, and then kind of talk about it privately. But I think sometimes in the morning stage of losing a customer, sometimes you just need to talk through, what happened and what can we do better. So that's what the goal is today.
Yeah.
So,
So let's jump into the DMZ feature and do you I'll start with a high level overview of what this is.
yeah, let
So
me
every
let me let me put it on the stage for
yeah.
people to see it. Yep. Yeah, go ahead and talk through that feature. If you want to talk to the beginning, I'll add in, I'll jump in as needed.
Yeah, I'll start with a little high level summary and then I'll hand it off to you for some
Okay.
details there, Mac.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so the DMZ feature, for everybody that knows when they're installing dSIPRouter, you have some options about networking, right? Um, the typical install most people are using is just netted environment. So you'll install dSIPRouter. It's got an internal IP and an external IP, but that external IP is not attached to the interface. You have a single interface. You're just listening on that for all your traffic. So there's some type of router in front of it, or like a VPC NAT solution. There's some type of NAT there. Those translations happen automatically. All works great out of the box. So that's the typical install. There's also this feature we call the DMZ, so demilitarized zone. For everybody that knows networking, it's segmented networks. So dSIPRouter, instead of having a single interface with your uh, netted network, you're going to have your public interface and your internal network interface. and the public one would be facing your carriers. It would be facing your customers that are connecting their phones to the domain, if you're using domains. And the internal would be your PBXs on the internal network, your customers that are connecting internally from the office, those type of things. And then what we want to do with that feature is just bridging that networking right there. External traffic coming in, then can translate over to the internal network and vice versa. So we added that feature in, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and we've been slowly building up on the changes there. Everybody who has installed dSIPRouter before, if you haven't yet, there's this feature with media relaying, uses the RTP engine. When you're relaying media, obviously you have to translate those IPs when you're coming in and out of internal networks. So we found some issues with that kind of throughout developing this feature. We've been starting to slowly expand upon that, and I think I'll hand it off to you at that point,
Yeah,
Mac, to kind of
yeah,
go
no,
into some details on how the feature works.
yeah. So I think first of all, this feature is super difficult. It's super difficult to manage. We all got to remember that what Chameleon is at its heart is a proxy. It is not a SBC. We get it to do SBC-ish things, but it is not typically an SBC. So this feature, I think we got it at a good state right now. In working with this previous customer. But I think what we're going to do now is make it even better and make it so that you don't really need to know as much in order to get this particular feature up and going. And I think it really is more about the testing. So, like, if we look at this picture here, and let's see if I can make it a slideshow so it shows up bigger. I think it showed up bigger.
Yep, that's good.
Okay, cool. So what you're going to see is that one of the things you're going to find is that, sure, if you're going directly at your Fusion box directly and you don't have dSIPRouter in front or in the middle of your network, things are going to work automatically, right? If you're going directly at Fusion, it's going to work, no problem. Now, when you start adding in dSIPRouter, now just without DMZ into the mix, obviously you add a layer of complexity because now you have dSIPRouter sitting in front of it. But now another layer of complexity that gets added is when you actually add DMZ, because now you have a internal interface, which is what this kind of represents to the left of what I'm circling here, and you have an external interface which goes to the external network. So now you have two network hops that you have to deal with, and on top of that, you have to deal with traffic going between these two interfaces and translating the traffic, and then more importantly, translating the audio between the two. Super complicated to do, and not also add on additional, if you want to do stir shaking with transnexus, or you want to go out to a third party, becomes even more complicated. But I think what it comes down to is that we're going to make DMZ a first-class citizen, meaning that we're going to go through and do all of the testing that we typically would do with a standard install of dSIPRouter. And that wasn't on our matrix of testing in the beginning, but now we're going to make it. And so by doing that, we're going to test that dSIPRouter works properly when you put a call on hold. We're going to make sure it actually works okay when you decide that you want to be able to send a call to voicemail. So all the things we're going to validate and test. So when you install DMZ, you will have some level of confidence. There's always little things that needs to be tweaked, but we're going to make sure that it works out of the box. And then one other thing here, which is part of this complexity, is that when you're using DMZ with domain routing, so what you'll see here, domain routing is the green hyphenated line here. And what domain routing is, for many of you that probably already know what this is basically your phones basically routing to or registering through dSIPRouter, dSIPRouter figuring out what PBX you go to. It could be a Fusion PBX, as we see up here. It could be a free PBX, or it could be some other PBX. But it doesn't matter to your phones because they're registering through dSIPRouter. dSIPRouter is handling the complexity. Now, domain routing is in itself is complex because you have to maintain where all these phones are registered to and things of that nature. But now you add in DMZ to it. So now it has to traverse an external interface and then an internal interface. So it's a lot to it. But again, we're going to spend the time to validate that those things work, along with provisioning the phones and things of that nature. So I guess really the big thing here is that I think the takeaway here, Tyler, and the reason why I wanted to do this talk is that, like, dSIPRouter is complex. We try and make it simple for everybody to use, but I think what we learn from losing a customer on around DMZ is that we have to make it, we have to validate that that it works properly when you have your PBX. Because I find that people don't care that they don't care about like dSIPRouter per se, right? They don't care that, oh, we got dSIPRouter in place, and they're not, that's not where the value is for the customer. The value is for them to be able to have dSIPRouter kind of sit in front of their PBXs and be kind of transparent, for lack of better words. So I think what we've done is we just failed with the DMZ architecture to make it transparent. And so I think that's really where we need to focus on. So that's really, I think for me, that's all I really wanted to talk through, is get people know that we're going to make this better. I don't know, Tyler, if you were thinking about something else as well, or you want to add to that.
Yeah, I don't want to get too off track. You did highlight there's like a fine line between making something simplistic and giving people all the options, or just enough options to be able to tweak it. So I think we started this to make this Camilio configuration or SIP proxy configuration simplistic for users. And, DMZ is a more complex network scenario. You got to be able to give the customers some more knobs to turn. So I just want to make sure, that as we, start learning, as we keep on learning, better ways to display this and give enough knobs without like overwhelming people or making it too many options to configure. How we can, best display that to you guys, best give you the tools to be able to configure it the way you need. Because we could just give you the Camilio config and say, all right, go ahead, run with it. But then you need to learn the whole Camilio config and how all that works. And that's kind of the simplicity that we're trying to give you, is that you don't have to do that. So yeah,
Yes.
I totally agree there. I think there's some more knobs to be able to tweak and make easier to use. Quick highlight, I thought of that one like off the top of my head, is like timers, because music on hold, that one that you mentioned earlier, a lot of that, or long ring timeouts if you have big ring groups, is like just tweaking the timers. Can we give them the option to tweak that and maybe put it behind like advanced settings if you need to tweak those knobs. So I think we're learning as we go.
I think what we're finding is that our customer base still wants the simplicity of using dSIPRouter UI, but they want more fine tuning, to your point, knobs to turn in order for them to do it. So one of the things like we're doing here is adding all the settings. Well, majority of the settings. I can't say everything will be there, but a lot of the major settings will be in a GUI now. And you'll be able to go fine tune those and change those, restart Camilio. And so you'll be able to see you'll be able to, as a customer, be able to like, you know, like or user be able to test out and change these settings without having to get underneath the covers of Camilio and do it. So I think to your point, I think that's going to help a lot um, around this as well. But we're still talking about pretty complicated use cases and trying to
Mhm.
make we like I sat down and I started saying, man, we have like a lot of different use cases that we've kind of wrapped into this Camilio config. And it's kind of mind blowing that we have all these use cases in this one config. I mean, so it's I don't know. We're gonna fine tune it, but I don't know. That's all I really wanted to chat about today. Tyler, you have anything you're excited about, or you wanted to tell people about?
Yeah, not to get too off topic, I did want to finish up DMZ really quickly.
Okay.
If you actually, I looked at this earlier. If you go to your next slide,
Oh
I
yeah.
just want to highlight how you can right now use this feature, and in the future as we keep on adding to this.
Yep.
So this is an on install feature right now. Eventually, we're going to get this into settings as well, where you can change a setting, and then it'll require obviously a restart to listen on the interfaces again. But yeah, so on install, if you're installing instead of doing just the dash all and leaving it as dynamic networking, which is usually it'll find either the NAT or external only interface, you can specify DMZ to give it your two interfaces. So that would be the first one being your public. So here it's ETH0, and the second one being your private interface, ETH1. So it's pretty simple to install. We're adding this to the docs as well. I don't think this is in the documentation yet. It is in like all the CLI options and help there, but I don't think it's in the UI documentation yet. We'll get that all updated for this next release as well. Maybe
Yeah, I
even we
think
should totally put this picture, the architecture picture there. That would be a really good one to toss in the docs there.
yeah, I think so. I think that would probably make a lot of sense because I think it makes a lot of sense. I think we should probably put it in the docs because first of all, I mean, this feature was something that we weren't necessarily uh it was really for us to do, like in regards to like just whenever we did setups and configurations, but I it's becoming more and more popular. More and more people are wanting to have the network separation, and I get it. So I think it makes sense now for us to like really put it part of the documentation. Like I said, I like using the word. I want to, I guess, make it a first class citizen, and make it so that people really understand and know how to use it. So yeah. So I think doing that will make a lot of sense. Um,
Mhm.
what else? So back to like, all right. So thank you for that. What is your thing? Anything you are excited about, or you wanted to share, or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to work on some of the other some of the other features we got upcoming. We're trying to there's a lot of cool features that we kind of have been working on in the background, but some of these are not for the dSIPRouter product. Some are getting migrated over. Um, I don't know. I'm excited to finish precise timers in Camilio and pull that into our tool bag for modules there. Um, I think a lot of people are doing queuing and consumer producer uh, related things in their routing configs, but nobody looks to dSIPRouter for that. Um, I mean, we haven't put any queuing or any producer consumer stuff in there yet, but I think that precise timers makes being able to consume those produced tasks really easy. So I'm excited. I'm excited to finish that up, but also excited to finish up CDRs. So uh, we are upgrading the CDR system in dSIPRouter. If you guys haven't heard me talk about it before, we're pulling it up to the dialog level instead of at the transaction level, and that's going to kind of alleviate a few issues that we were working with there, and it's going to also make it a lot easier to track each call, basically. Just some cleanup, and I'm excited to get that kind of updated and get rid of the post processing. It's a pain to kind of manage.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think that is going to be exciting to get that done, and especially when people are going to at scale with their infrastructure, where they're getting a million calls or whatever every couple of days or every day. Like that's a lot of or a million minutes, whatever it is. There's a lot of CDR records. So, and that's a lot of records to be processing. And the way we do it now, you get into certain bottlenecks that we obviously we know how to work around and deal with, but this new approach that you're talking about is going to really improve the throughput of CDRs and make it better. So I'm excited for that as well.
Yep,
For
and that
me,
even at
mhm,
the transaction level, that like kind of balloons out even more. You have
yeah,
a million calls. So the times whatever number of transactions. Got re-invites, you got another transaction there, all that stuff.
yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean, for me, my most interesting thing. Well, not interesting. It's not the most interesting thing. The most useful thing that I'm working on right
Mhm.
now is the ability to have a settings page so people can make changes to this thing. So I think
That's
is
exciting in itself.
it, it is. It's not like, it's like not like you can see code setting timers and programming stuff of that nature, but it is something that's needed. It's been long overdue. I think that our customer base is more mature now. They're looking for these ways to do these knob tuning basically. So I think it's going to be useful. So that's it. So Tyler, man, great seeing you again.
Yeah.
Obviously, we this supposed to be a weekly podcast, but we've been so busy. It's been not as weekly as we want. We're sorry, everyone, but we'll get back to normal programming as soon as we can. But anyway, wanted to pop on the day. So that's it. Talk to
Yeah.
everybody
Thanks
soon.
for joining. We'll see you guys in hopefully another week here
Yep.
as soon as we
Go
can.
from there. All right. Take care.
All right. See you guys.